Hello, everyone. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, thank you so much for that kind introduction, as well as inviting me to give this talk. Um, I thought of sharing with you for some of the things that will be important for your day-to-day life. So therefore, I would like to term this title or this session as Mindfulness for Lifefulness. Now, I would like to start with what happened to me. Maybe now the time is 9:12. So I'm 10 or 12 minutes late for my session. So I thought of starting with that. Now I got the meeting invitation well in advance. I prepared for my talk well in advance. I set up everything well in advance, but just 10 minutes before, the power went off. Right? And then the power came back maybe 1 minute before, and then I set up and I found that there's something wrong with my laptop. It took long time to reboot. And then I found something wrong with my microphone. So the microphone is not working. So now I'm joining from two devices, from my mobile phone as well as my laptop. Still, I think I can communicate. Can you all just confirm that you can see me and hear me? Also, just before, maybe 5 minutes before me starting this talk, I'm actually thank you so much for giving me a good, giving me a very good comprehensive introduction. I just want to tell you, apart from all these positions, I am the director of the examination unit of the Faculty of Medical Sciences as well. So just 5 minutes before me starting this talk, while I was trying to set up all these things, our registrar came and wanted me to talk to her. There were some issues that we were going through, so we had to fix it. And then our dean came to talk to me, and then some of the exam department. And on my way to my room, I had to talk to at least 3 or 4 people, and they also have their matters so urgent. My matter is also so urgent for me, but for them, those matters is also so urgent for me. Now, students, how would you respond if you get into such type of situation? Can I be a little bit of interactive? Can I open the chat box and have this communication as a two-way communication? Because this is a very important thing that I really want you to understand. There are so many evidence that I can tell you because of political sensitivities. I'm not sharing all these things. But in real life, when you get into this type of stressful situations, you go blank and you go wordless, and you're not in a position to talk. And sometimes you do totally unexpected things, which you will put into further issues. Now, to tell you the truth, I have prepared a presentation also, but because of the issue that I have in this laptop, I'm not in a position to run that presentation. But I'm very much sure that you will never be able to understand all these things if you're really just looking at my face only. Because I decided, for whatever, we'll go through all these issues, but I made one decision that for whatever the things would happen, I will maintain my mind in the present moment and do whatever I can in my best way. I'll give another example. As I've been the director of examination, I know all these things. You will also go through all these difficulties. You have to expect all these difficulties when you become students. Sometimes the examinations are so tough, which is And sometimes you go, some students I have seen that they have studied very well, but all of a sudden they get panic attack. They get into so much of difficulties, and everything that they have done is gone for a toss. It happens to most of the people, even top administrators you might have seen in our society. It happens, and they get into a lot of issues. So students, I thought of sharing some insights, because I don't have my insights as well, but I think I should share some insights with you, how to deal with those distractions, yet handle the situation and do your best. Right? So it's something about how best you can deal with your distractions in your world. So one of the interactive things I just want to do is that I just open up my chat box. So you can send me, I hope that I have been assigned as a co-host or host. Yes, I'm a co-host, yes. So if you want, you can share something. If you feel that you don't want to divulge your name, you can share them as a direct message, or share as a public message if you're okay. Just share me while I'm talking. Just share some of the experiences that you have had experience, get into trouble because of you get into stress. Now, sometimes, so I just open the chat box. So just as I keep on telling, just share your experience so that I can make this conversation more interactive. And also share your problems, questions with regard to the stress. You can say anything, right? So regard to the university life, the life that you want to live, how to achieve your life objectives, goals, as well as how to manage your stress, what is mindfulness, what it brings to us, all sort of questions. Just keep on typing in the chat box so that I will take them appropriate time. All right. So with that brief introduction, let me start with the simple question as to why mindfulness is. Now, if you really look at what is mindfulness is, it's another question that I want to discuss with you is that, now, if you really look at our minds or our thinking pattern, you all are students of the Faculty of Computing Sciences, if I'm not mistaken. If you really look at our minds, sometimes you may see that there is a kind of an inner chatter, the self chatter, good in your mind. Keep on talking. It may be relevant to the present moment. It may be something maybe past, or it may be something future. Your mind engaged in a continuous inner chatter. සිංහලෙන් කියනවා නම් අපේ මනසේ හැමතිස්සෙම ලොකු අභ්‍යන්තර ගෝසාවක්. And you might have seen people while they are walking along the road, they're just smiling to themselves. Sometimes you may see that they are talking to themselves. සමහරවිට ඔබ දැකලා ඉති පාරේ යනකොට සමහරක් අය තමන්ටම කතා කර යනවා, තමන්ටම hina වෙනවා. So that's a clear evidence that you are overwhelmed by the inner chatter and you are totally engulfed by the chatter, so that you are not living in the present moment. It may hinder අපිට ගොඩාක් ප්‍රශ්නයක් විය. So we get into so many troubles because of that, because we are not living in the present moment. I just want to share you one funny story that we have a counseling course here. So a lot of students come and follow that course, and I do one session for them, mindfulness. So I ask them to share their unmindful experiences. You also can share. So I have opened the chat box, but no one has responded so far. So I really want to share your unmindful experience, whatever the things that you can share. Just go back to the time that you get up today in the morning and up to now, and see any unmindful experience that you have gone, and share with the team. If you want to share with personally, share with me. Now, one of the things that when I did that workshop for some of the nursing officers, that I have asked them to share their unmindful occasions. And one nursing officer shared me her story, which is a bit funny. She used to travel from Avisabel to Colombo or Jawdepur University. So one day when she was traveling by bus, she got into the bus and she sat on a chair. And then she found that everyone was looking at her in a sarcastic way. Even the bus conductor was looking at her in a sarcastic way. So she was thinking, why? Then only she realized that she was still having the helmet. Then she come to a particular place by her scooter, park it, and get into the bus. That day she was so busy and she forget to remove her helmet. She straight away got into the bus, and then here she found that the helmet. So there are certain things funny, but there are certain things we get into so much of troubles because of our unmindful nature. So if you really go through the things that are happening to you in your day-to-day life, these unmindful occasions bring us a lot of troubles and unnecessary things. If you really analyze your thinking pattern during this, when you get into these unmindful occasions, it is more or less something to do with your past or something to do with your future. For example, now it took nearly 7 minutes for me to boot this computer. So what do you do during these 7 minutes? I'm thinking, oh my God, this is not opening. Come on, Kela. Make it gahagan the door. What you have to do. So generally what happens is that you feel like, okay, the people have logged in and they are looking at me. Now I'm late. What do they think? All these sort of thoughts keep on coming to your mind. So what happens is those thoughts are not going to help you. Instead, they will put you into more and more trouble, and you will ruin your presentation. You will ruin your discussion. You will ruin your session that you are engaged in. Instead of that, you can be mindful. So 7 minutes, it's taking so much of time to log in. If there's nothing to be done, just observe your breath. Just bring your mind to the present moment and observe, because anyway, that's going to happen. Only thing you can do is that just observe the present moment. So that is what is called mindfulness. I would like to share some more information about what happens to you when you start practicing mindfulness. And then later in the section, I'll give you a kind of a toolbox box with which that you practice mindfulness. And then finally, we are going to do a practice session as well. So online mindfulness practice session. So these are the only 3 things that I will be doing. I have got another 35 minutes. In another 35 minutes, you do all these 3 things. We do a lot of research on mindfulness and to understand how best it brings you benefits. Those who sometimes there may be practitioners. So how many students here have logged in? So I see, 160, 118. So thank you so much. Someone has already sent me a message. Let me read it. Overwhelming with a lot of work is a great anxiety for me personally. I always tend to think like we have got to do this and to do it bring me down to the doing nothing at all. Very good point. Thank you so much for the sender. When you are bombarded with so many words, you feel like you're going nowhere, and that will further and further decreases your efficiency and capacity, and you do nothing. So thank you so much for sharing that, your status or your opinion. What I want to share with you is that why we get into that situation, a little bit of scientific basis. So we did a research very recently where we got 2 groups of students. One group is practicing mindfulness every week, Sunday evening, and the other group, they do not practice mindfulness. So we recruited, let's say 50% students who are practicing mindfulness every week, at least 1 hour a week. And then we have asked another group of students who are not practicing mindfulness, but they are exactly the same age, same sex, and also coming from the same family background. So if you really look at, there are no any other differences between these two groups, except the fact that one group is practicing mindfulness and one group is not practicing mindfulness. And we can measure the stress level. So there's a particular questionnaire that has been developed, and we assess their stress level, as well as we have assessed their performance at the last examination. So what we found is that the children who are practicing mindfulness at least 1 hour a week had less stress life, had their higher quality of life, plus their examination performance was significantly higher than those who are not practicing mindfulness. Okay. So the only difference between these two groups is being mindfulness. The outcome of the results have been attributed to the practice of mindfulness. Not only that, there was so many global research that they found that those who practice mindfulness go through a situation called rewiring your neural network. Now, for medical, I'll be using some medical terms that the area in our head, in this area is known as the prefrontal cortex. Now, that is the area from which that we make our decision-making process. And this is the area which governs in our brain, which governs creativity, emotional management, almost all the higher order functions. Now, what they found is that when you keep on practicing mindfulness, the thickness of the prefrontal cortex, particularly the left hemisphere, increases. So the increase in the thickness of the left hemisphere means that you are increasing the capacity in the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for almost all the high order functions like your mathematical skills, your analytical skills, your creativity, your memory, all these things. So that is why, if you really look at globally, a lot of organizations, including organizations like Google, they incorporated mindfulness practice into their human resource strategies. Across the world, you will see now this is a very interesting subject where people started practicing mindfulness. So that's the modern scientific evidence of practicing mindfulness. In our medical faculty, under the medical curriculum, there's a special stream called personal professional development, and we teach mindfulness as one of the subjects, and we encourage medical students to practice mindfulness. And they reported back saying that it's really, really beneficial for their day-to-day life. So you can read all these things. There are so many scientific backgrounds, facts. So I will be sharing. I have actually done a lot of TV programs, a lot of media programs. So I will be sharing my YouTube channel here. There are so many programs that I have shared there. So please have a look, go through those videos, which gives maybe in Sinhalese and English, both languages. I have given some insights about what mindfulness is, how to practice mindfulness, and particularly the scientific basis. Right. So with that introduction, let me come to the point. The next point is that what exactly is mindfulness? So there are so many discussions and deviations or situations. But what I would like to do is right now is that rather than me explaining you what mindfulness is, I want everyone to join with me for a brief practice session. Right? So what we are going to do is that we are going to practice mindfulness. So let's do 3 things. First thing is, I know that you all are joining online, And sometimes I don't know whether you are in the university or I don't know whether you are in your home or wherever, but find a place where there are no much distractions. You'll have maybe 20 seconds. If you are in an open area, just get into a room or some other places where it's perfectly all right if there are distractions, but for a beginner, we need to find a place where there are no distractions. So find a place, take your devices quickly, and go to a place where there are less distractions, right? Okay, I assume that you are in a place where you can have a little bit of privacy. Now, what you have to do is that, like me, sit on a chair and keep your back straight. Don't rest like this. And if you're joining from home, I know that sometimes you may be lying on your bed, right? So stand up, get up, and then stand, sit like this. Keep your back straight and keep both of your hands on your palms, on your thighs, palm down, and then keep both the legs on the floor in parallel. Right? So when you sit like this, you started feeling your posture. You feel your both legs are touching the floor, your weight on the chair, your back straight, and your head and neck, and your palms on your thighs. So you started feeling the present moment, your pressure points. These are the things that's happening in the present moment. Okay. So we are now sitting here. Relaxly. And I invite you all to close your eyes gently and slowly. Now, we are sitting here. Relaxly. And see what you feel at this moment. See whether you can look at your body as if you're looking from the top, from your mind. You may experience both of your legs are in parallel and they are touching your floor. Your weight on your chair. Your back straight but relaxed. Your hands on your thighs. And slowly adjust your head and neck and find the most comfortable position to keep them. When you sit like this, you feel that your pressure points. So that means your body stays here at this moment. So your mind is here. See what else you can experience apart from your pressure points. See whether you can experience the rise and fall of the abdomen after each and every breath. Sometimes you may experience the in-breath and the out-breath at the top of your nostril. Whatever you experience, sometimes you may feel the beating of your heart, your pulse, or even the rhythmic movements of your body. whatever you experience, just be aware of those incidents, occasions, thoughts, or any stimulation. But do not follow them. Do not let your mind to follow all these thoughts. Instead, just be relaxed and look at what is happening right now with the curious mind. Sometimes while you are observing your posture, what is happening right now, you will see that your mind is wandering. You may be thinking something in the past, something future, or something which is even may not relevant to the present moment. Whatever comes to your mind, whenever you spotted them, whenever you identify them, do not suppress them, do not reject them, do not feel unhappy. Just feel that there were thoughts in my mind, and that's it. Without suppressing or without entertaining them, if you just observe your thoughts like you are observing your pressure points, you will see that the incessant stream of thoughts slowly subsides and you always come to the present moment. That's where you started feeling your pressure points. The beating of your heart, the subtle movements of your body, or the breath. Just observe what is happening right now. We don't have anything to do at this moment, just to observe what is happening right now. So this have to be done by ourselves. So therefore, I will stop guiding from this point onwards. But let's make a determination that we just continue to observe the present moment. So we have nothing to do at this moment, so let us enjoy the moment where we have nothing to do. So let's start by observing the present moment by ourselves for a few moments. Slowly open your eyes and let's conclude the session. So that's what we did was that a brief mindfulness practice session. So when you maintain your mind always in the present moment, you will see that the inner chatter or the incessant stream of chatter slowly reduces, and then you stay always in the present moment. And in that situation, you see so many clarity in the situation. Sometimes it's something like if you are unmindful, that maybe stressed or maybe angry, maybe irritated or annoyed, you do not see things very clearly. You see things cluttered by so many things. But when you are mindful, you always see things are very clear. So now the question to you is that how to practice mindfulness. Now what we did was a whole guided meditation session. So I will share you the link to my YouTube channel. So how can I find the chat box? Let me open the chat box. Yeah, so just go there and just watch videos I have done where there are so many videos with which that you can practice mindfulness. So my chat, just type Sanath Mahawithanage. And you can find so many videos that are available. Now, this is what we did was a kind of a guided meditation. But this is sometimes this has to be done with cautious. You really need to have someone who can help you, who can guide you, and who can give you some important instructions without which sometimes it may not necessarily work for you. Instead, it might work negatively for you also. But there are so many things with which you can cultivate your mind to maintain the present moment. So one of the things is that the most easiest thing is mindful, very, very effective for beginner. If you go to my YouTube channel, you will see videos where you do mindful walking. And it's a simple process where you find a place where you can walk maybe 10 or 15 steps, and then you walk, you keep your arms, hands in front of you or back, and then just look at in front of you, maybe 1 or 2 meters, and you walk. While you're walking, you just be conscious what is happening right now, the way in which that your left and right legs are touching the floor. And sometimes you might, all of a sudden, you hear the chumpang going, and people are calling you, the birds chirping, etc. But don't worry about those things. Just only thing that you need to be doing is that just be aware that I'm walking right now. I'm hearing all these things. So with that awareness itself will help you to continue to be focused on the present moment. So that's the second most impactful and powerful way of practicing mindfulness. And sometimes you may not find time. Now, my general advice is that if you can find at least good 20 minutes every day to do some good mindful walking, you will see the miracles happening to you. Within 3 or 4 days, you will see that you are becoming a more organized person. You have your capacity is going up, and you become. Sometimes all of a sudden, people will start talking to you. People will be happy about your way, your conduct. So all these things you will start realizing within just after 3 days. Now, the common question that people ask is that I don't have much time, right? So this is my advice or my suggestion to those who always say that we don't have time. You can practice mindfulness with your day-to-day activities. For example, the first thing you do is that, getting out from your bed every day. So when you get out from your bed every day, you can be conscious of that process. You may be keeping your left leg or right leg, depending on in which side that you're getting up from your bed, where you can be conscious. That's the first time you're placing your leg on earth, maybe 6 or 7 hours after that. Just be conscious. And then you may be making your bed, you may be folding your bed sheet. Just be mindful. And you may be keeping your pillow at the right place. Just do it mindfully. And then after that, you may be going to the washroom. And then while you are in the washroom, you will see there are a lot of planning happens for the whole day. Yeah. That's the time you think that I want to write a tutorial, I want to do these things, I want to do that thing, I want to call this person, I want to do all the planning happens in the washroom. But you can do that the previous day, night, and write down all these things on a piece of paper. When you write down everything in the piece of paper, they do not come and continuously touching your mind. Instead, when you are in your washroom, it's your personal time. You can brush your teeth mindfully. You can take even the toothpaste mindfully. You can wash your face mindfully, and you can do the entire process in the washroom. It may be 3 minutes or 4 minutes mindful. And then when we come out, when you have your breakfast, just eat mindfully. And sometimes you may be walking from one place to the other place. Just walk mindfully. Do not carry your emotion with that walk. You get that emotion when you get into that task. So I have my emotion right now to do this task, but I'm not thinking what I'm supposed to do next. So this carrying of emotions of the previous work is the one that actually really putting you down or danger. So in this way, you will see that from the time that you get up from the bed, get up until you go to bed, throughout the day, you can practice mindfulness. So if you practice mindfulness, if you cultivate a lifestyle in this way, you will see that throughout the day, you are with yourself and you do not get into uneasy situations or irritations, or you labor them. So when you live in this way, you will see that the life is becoming more and more easy. Simple. So my final message to students is that we have 10 more minutes. If you really want to have a discussion or something, we can get in that. But this is a way of life. The maintaining your mind always in the present moment has nothing to do with any religion. It's the basic human nature. It's true that it has some religious connotations, particularly to Buddhism, fine. But each and every human being are equipped with capacities to maintain your mind in the present moment. And that is the freedom of, rather than telling that freedom of speech is the what you call is the basic human right. I would like to say that the right to maintain your mind in the present moment should be one of the basic human rights. Because when you maintain your mind in the present moment, that's where you become a true human. When you let your mind to wander to a previous situation or your future, you're not in the present moment and you're no more a human at all. Right? So students, the benefits of mindfulness, the right way of practicing mindfulness, I have explained to you. And I have done a brief session with you also. And then I have given you some inputs with which that you can continue to practice mindfulness. And my final message is that mindfulness is a way of life. It's the way in which that one can live. So if you continue to do all these things, you will see a remarkable shift in your life. So before I conclude, I just want to share with you one of the global initiatives. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you can go and check in the YouTube. In 1996, the UK Parliament has suspended for 5 minutes. You know that why the parliaments have been suspended ended when there are clashes. But that particular day, UK Parliament has suspended to meditate for 5 minutes. They suspended Parliament for 5 minutes. They meditated, and that is the day that they declare the United Kingdom be a mindful nation by 2030. So students, if you start practicing it with yourself right now, with your day-to-day activities, what you are doing, for example, I can give you an example now. When each and every shirt has 6 or 7 buttons. So when you're buttoning your shirt, you can do it mindfully. You can think, you can make a determination right now. Okay, I'm going to button my shirt and then I will maintain my mind throughout the entire process. So if you start being a mindfulness practitioner with whatever the activity that you can do, even by just listening to this speech, you are changing not only you are changing the entire world. Because when you start practicing mindfulness, others will definitely start feeling it. It is so infectious. And that's the best way to change the society and do an other way, if you really want to say that, where you not only yourself you will change, but also you will change the entire society. So with that brief note, let me finish. So we have 6 more minutes. If you have any questions or things to discuss, otherwise we can close this session. Thank you so much, Tarindu, for inviting me to do this session with you. Thank you.
Dear students, do you have any questions to ask?
So you can type in the chat box if you are comfortable, or you can unmute and we can so okay, someone has said thank you very much. Yes, thank you so much for listening so attentively. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, so in the absence of any other comments and questions, let us wind up the session. Yeah, so someone has texted to me saying that thank you, doctor, for introducing that mind exercise. Yes, thank you so much. Any other comments and questions? Okay, Tarindu, so we can close the session. Thank
Okay,
you so
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir.
So can I leave the room now?
Yes, sure, sir. Thank you for your effort, commitment, and spreading out wonderful mediation topics. So I hope it is helpful of our students for their daily mediation practices. So again, thank you, sir. See you soon.